What's up, everybody? Joe White here, and I wanted to do this video last night, but I was just too freaking tired. I attended WWE Starrcade last night in Greensboro, North Carolina. I want to give you some thoughts, my thoughts on the show there live. I sat up way up high in the cheap seats because that's all they pretty much had left. My son, I had a choice between this or WrestleCade. My son wanted to go to Starrcade, so we went to Starrcade because he wanted to see like the New Day and everybody like that. So we went and saw Starrcade. I got to tell you, the Greensboro Coliseum, their management of lines and crowds is a bit of a cluster, but they opened the doors at about 6:30. So we or actually about 6 o'clock, 6:30, somewhere around there. Got in our seats, and the first thing I noticed was they had Starrcade ring aprons. They had Starrcade logos up on the jumbotron, on the what I call the wraparound banner, the ribbon banner around the arena. They had the red and blue stars on it. But other than that, it was a really, really glorified house show. And WWE treated it like a glorified house show. People are sitting there going on the network, why wasn't this on the network? Put it on the network. Here's the thing. If they would have put this on the network, the same people who would have bitched about it not being on the network would then in turn bitch about how it's just a normal house show that they're watching. It would have came off like a generic episode of SmackDown, but with a Starrcade banner thrown on it. And that's essentially what this was. I'm going to run down some of the results here, give my reactions. They did have Starrcade ring aprons. That pissant Greg Hamilton, who I cannot stand, was your ring announcer. The crowd doing that one fall bullshit all night, and it's not just a full-on pocket of people anymore. It's the whole crowd is doing that bullshit now. And it's even to the point now where he goes, the following contest is scheduled for one fall, and he accentuates the one fall like he knows they're going to chant it, and he smiles when they do it. So the comments that Taz put out a couple months ago and then rescinded are true. This guy is a mark for himself, and it's fucking disgusting. Anyway, getting on to the, they did the old school graphics, like what you're seeing on your screen right there with Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler with Arn Anderson as the special enforcer. They would do the 1980s style graphics, how like the light blue would start at the bottom of the screen and it would creep up and up and up, and it had a VHS style filter on it. It was very old school, very awesome. They would, they did our opening video package, kind of like it was a pay-per-view. That's what's weird about this, is that some of the stuff made this come off as if you were at a pay-per-view. They did an opening video package for this. I don't know if they do opening video packages for just generic house shows or not, but they did for this. And I thought, oh, they're going to air the package from the Best of Starrcade DVD that they aired. No, this was an original video package. They picked interviews from that DVD, but there was like, tonight in Greensboro, Starrcade comes home and stuff like that. They did the Then Now Forever WWE opening, which was crazy before they did the opening video. Like, you could have swore that this was like a really, really cheaply budgeted pay-per-view from WWE if you weren't, if you weren't in the know. They did a couple special things of merch for the event, a couple shirts, stuff like that. Nostalgia videos playing before matches. They did a one for Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Arn Anderson, Ricky Steamboat, the Rock and Roll Express, etc. First match on the card was Dolph Ziggler versus Bobby Roode, with Arn Anderson being the guest enforcer. Match pretty much ended when it was pretty much the same match between these guys that we've gotten on every single episode of SmackDown, that we've gotten on the pay-per-view so far. It's a very much the same heel babyface match that they've had. The finish came when Ziggler went outside to get a chair. Arn Anderson is approaching him going, "You're not going to use that," and then Ziggler clocks him in the face, and Arn Anderson took a bump on the outside, which surprised me. Arn Anderson then slides in and gives Dolph Ziggler the spine buster for his efforts, which leads into the glorious DDT for the win. So Bobby Roode gets the win there. It was a very good match, very solid match. But again, people talking about putting this on the network. You've seen this match before. It's pretty much the exact same match that they gave us in their last couple go rounds. They did that one spot where they did multiple roll ups and grabbing the tights and all that, and each person grabbed the tight. It was very much the same match. Then we had a 12-man tag, which when they announced that it was a 12-man tag, the crowd really popped for it, but then they quickly died down in their seats. Breezango, Ty Dillinger, The Ascension, and Sin Cara went up against Rusev with Aiden English, the Colognes, Mike Kanellis, and the Bludgeon Brothers. Breezango. I've said it for months. I'll say it again. Besides these little Breezango Vice or whatever thing they're doing backstage, once they come out, they are not over. You could have almost, they literally got no reaction at all. Except for when their music hit, everybody was like, oh, it's these guys? Come on. They got a bad reaction. And it wasn't a heel reaction. It wasn't a babyface reaction. It was like, oh, God, they give us these guys? Really? So, Breezango, not over. Been saying it for months now. Ty Dillinger, there was a lot of people in the section that I was sitting in that did not know who this guy was. Except for until when Hamilton, did He Is the Perfect 10? And that was, that's when people knew who he was. The Ascension, a lot of people excited to see The Ascension. Surprisingly, seeing as how they're barely on TV anymore, except for in those Breezango angles. And then Sin Cara came out, everybody's still doing the lucha. He did not do his springboard entrance with the trampoline. Rusev here. Aiden English came out to introduce Rusev, and I thought Aiden English was going to be a part of the match. Aiden English fired off a snide comment of, oh, why am I here on a WCW reject pay-per-view? And that really got the crowd going. I don't think that comment was the smartest one to make. But anyway, Rusev came out, and Rusev is over. The crowd loved him some Rusev last night. Rusev was a babyface in this match. Sorry, there's just no way around it. People chanting, we want Rusev, Rusev Day, Rusev Machka, Rusev Crush. There was all kinds of Rusev chants last night. The Colognes, nobody cared. Mike Kanellis, sadly, nobody cared. He came out without Maria, too, of course, because I believe Maria, I don't know why Maria went out there. I think she's still pregnant. And then, of course, the Bludgeon Brothers. The people love the Bludgeon Brothers, especially Rowan. A lot of We Want Rowan chants last night. Rowan has a hell of a spin kick. He had a spin kick in this match that really surprised me. Bludgeon Brothers, way over. People wanted to see the Bludgeon Brothers. People wanted to see Rusev. And they could give fuck all about anybody else in this match. Had no heat at all. Rowan and Harper end up destroying everyone, even their own teammates. Leads to a pinfall on Ty Dillinger. Everybody popped. They loved the Bludgeon Brothers. The Bludgeon Brothers, even when they were walking to the back, they stopped on the ramp and faced everybody and gave them the old cold stare, and everybody cheered loudly for them. Huge pop for the Bludgeon Brothers last night. Tamina with Lana versus Naomi. Naomi is over with her entrance, and then the bell rings, and that's it. A bunch of people in my section didn't even know who Tamina was. A bunch of people in my section asking why Lana is not with Rusev. Apparently, the same people that are going to the show do not watch the product or don't care. Match was very short. Tamina goes for a Superfly Splash, gets kicked in by the recovering Naomi. Naomi hits the finisher for the 3 count. That's it. Very short, very sweet. Nobody cared. The little kids sitting beside me and my son were begging their moms to go ahead and take them to the bathroom during the match because the one kid sitting next to me said, quote, I don't care about the women's division, and then went to the bathroom. It's pretty sad, folks. It's pretty sad. Showed a Dusty Rhodes tribute video next, and it was very good there. The same Dusty Rhodes video that they played when he died. Dustin Rhodes then comes out, and he's doing the gold dust gimmick right up until he takes the coat off, the robe off, and he's revealed to be the natural Dustin Rhodes wearing the classic black tank top and red pants, red tights, and cowboy boots. Even coming out to the old natural theme music with the complete with the Titantrons and everything. The crowd popped for that. Dustin was way over. His opponent was Dash Wilder. A lot of people in my section did not know who Dash was, nor did they care who Dash was. This match here had no heat to it whatsoever. Dustin worked his ass off here a little bit. He really, really tried. So did Dash. It was an okay match. Very short, sweet, to the point. Dustin hits a flying bulldog out of the corner for the win. he's interviewed. He mentions how that he loved Dusty Rhodes too. He sat in the arena to watch Starrcade as a fan, and now he's proud to be there. It was a very touching moment. It got over with the crowd a lot. They played a video tribute to Ricky Steamboat. Ricky Steamboat comes out and talks about how, this was our Madison Square Garden. Greensboro Coliseum was the MSG of Crockett Promotions, which was very true, and it popped the crowd for that. He said how important it is for him to be able to do the U.S. title, or be around for the U.S. title. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin. My God, is Nakamura over. Dude is a fucking rock star, man. And it's not just with the singing of the theme song. It's with every step this guy takes, it seems like they were popping for. Why he's in a bullshit program for the U.S. title, I'll never know. So, Baron Corbin. Actually, a lot of people there cheering for Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin is over, man. He does, his interactions that he does with the crowd, trying to get the crowd to play into it, are freaking amazing. I loved this match. The match ended. It was a very physical match. Hit the Kinshasa, kicked out of it. The match ended when Corbin brung a chair in the ring. He used it on Nakamura. Charles Robinson called for the bell. Afterwards, Nakamura, a quick battle over the chair. Nakamura wins the battle, sits Corbin down in the chair, hits the Kinshasa, and Nakamura did a really cool thing. He went around and shook every single hand of people who were sitting at ringside. He was giving autographs, and that's another thing I noticed about the house shows that people can't do on Monday Night Raw. There were kids there with autograph books and posters. And since this was a house show, again, you couldn't do this if this was on the network. People were signing autographs and posing for selfies as they were walking to and from the ring. And they were, at one point, Nakamura took a guy's cell phone as he was walking back up the ramp and took a selfie with this guy's cell phone, and then pretended like he was going to throw it into the crowd, behind the guy, but didn't. Gave him his phone back. He shook every single person at ringside's hand. Nakamura is just, you could tell Nakamura was out there having fun. It was amazing to see live. I got to see Nakamura team up with Finn Balor 2 years ago, right after WrestleMania, right before the brand split that happened again. And it's amazing to see Nakamura on the main roster versus NXT, because he's one of the few guys where there really is no difference. They really have let him just do what he wants to do, kind of. So yeah, I enjoyed that match. That was my favorite match of the night, to be honest here. Hardy Boys come to the ring, thank the fans in North Carolina for let them do it for 25 years. Matt came out with King Maxwell on the stage before heading to the ring. And then they put over the Rock and Roll Express, led to a video package. Ricky and Robert come out and kind of cut a promo there. The New Day then come out there because they're going to have the fatal four-way match next, and the New Day then go in the ring and twerk with the Rock and Roll Express and the Hardys. So they had a bit of a dance-off. So then it was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn interrupted them, and then the Usos and the Gable and Jordan would come out there. So it was basically the New Day, which was I believe it was Kofi and Xavier. Yes, it was Kofi and Xavier versus Jimmy and Jey Uso versus Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Very crazy match. They did a lot of parts where everybody brawled in on each other. Everybody went for Owens and Zayn, proving that they don't like them. Really good match. I like this match. Usos ended up getting the pin after a top rope splash on Gable, so they retained their titles. We go to intermission, and the cage gets put up piece by piece. They did not have it hanging from above the ring. After intermission, it was very fast, man. There was very fast work them putting up that cage. It maybe took them all of 15 to 20 minutes to put this cage up. A Ric Flair tribute video played, and out came the Nature Boy himself to talk a little bit about how he loves Greensboro and he thinks Dusty Rhodes, all the usual stuff you'd expect him to say. And then he introduces Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair versus Natalya in a cage. They made very little Very, very little work of this cage. They didn't use the cage hardly at all. It was your typical SmackDown match between these two. And Natalya ends up winning with Charlotte ends up winning with the figure 8. It was a good match. It was a decent match between these two. Natalya is trying her hardest to get this gimmick over. The crowd popped huge for Charlotte because she's Ric Flair's daughter. When Charlotte came out, though, you could have heard a fucking pin drop in that arena. There was just no heat for her at all. No heel heat for her whatsoever. But it was a decent match here between those two. Next up was the Singh brothers come out. And the Singh brothers end up introducing Jinder Mahal, and then AJ comes out. AJ is over like Rover. Oh my God, he's so over. I liked how over he was here, and it was phenomenal. For lack of a better word, pardon the pun, that crowd loves that man to death. They freaking love AJ Styles. They hate Jinder Mahal. Anyway, it was a really good. Mahal brings the cage into play earlier. It was a very good, very physical match there. AJ Styles ends up winning by crawling onto the floor or going out the door onto the floor. He basically kicked the cage door into Mahal, closed it on him, and makes his way onto the floor to win. It was a very good match. It was a very good night, actually. It was a really good nostalgic night. I believe somebody on Twitter, I think it was Sophia Moon, put on there, it was a love letter to Greensboro. And that's exactly what it was supposed to be. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, if they take it and turn it into a kind of, I think they should turn this into like a network special, kind of like what they did with Beast in the East on the 4th of July a few years ago. I would enjoy that. But if they try to make it anything more than that, it's going to fail miserably. Because this match was not designed to be on the network. It showed why they wouldn't put it on the network. So anybody who's complaining, sorry, you should have been there live. It was not a sellout. They had plenty of upper level seats available. You could have been there live. So too bad, so sad. I could see why this wasn't on the network. I'm glad it wasn't on the network. So this leads me into my second point here. Leads me there. I woke up this morning and I see a India wrestler by the name of I believe it's Jordan Grace or Jordan Grace. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. She's awesome. Okay, let me put this out there right away before I go on this rant. I'm a fan of hers. I like her work. She makes her own ring gear, which is a DIY is always a plus for me. And she's very beautiful, very talented. I have nothing really bad to say about her except for the fact that she kind of infuriated me on Twitter last night. She put, I just saw a fan catch a dive, may I just say I'm 100% here for 2017 wrestling. Okay, so a fan caught a dive instead of a stupid ass fan caught a dive instead of moving out the way. And you're excited for this. So a fan sitting in the front row who has paid a ticket to see you has popped you. I don't want to go all Jim Cornette on this, but then my first thought was, so when did the fans start popping the wrestlers instead of the other way around? I pay a ticket to try and pop me, not the other way around. If that's the case, let you pay a ticket and we'll collect the money to sit in the crowd and watch you wrestle. If that's the way you want to be. If some idiot who decided not to move out the way and happened to catch a wrestler excites you so much, you go ahead. You pay to wrestle, and we'll take that money to watch you. If it pops you that much. So then this continues on Twitter here about 10 hours as of recording this. She goes, 2017 wrestling idea: have a special ticket where fans get to sit in the front row specifically dedicated to helping catch dives. Make them sign liability waiver. Brief safety course before the show. and call it a splash zone ticket. This continues on. Somebody talks about the lawyer fee of getting the waiver done. She goes, honestly, there's probably some indie fan who is a lawyer that would draw up the contract for free or cheap. Somebody then goes, wrestlers hurt trusting their lives to untrained people. What could go wrong? She goes, did you not see the videos of trained wrestlers not catching people for dives? Here's the thing. If a trained wrestler is not capable of catching people in a dive, he needs to train better. He needs to be better trained. They shouldn't be doing dives. Special ticket? Okay, here's the thing. It's not an indoor go-go or indoor go-kart track. Go-go track, that would be great. Indoor go-kart track, dear. It takes years to people for... How long did you go to wrestling school, Miss Grace? A long time, right? You can't just train somebody. I can see this now. Okay, guys, here's what's going to happen. This is some indie event down south. Here's what's going to happen, guys. You're going to sit there, and here's the promoter. You're going to sit here in your splash zone ticket that you've paid an extra $25 for, okay? And these guys here, they're going to dive on you. And you got to hold your arms out now. You got to hold your arms out and you got to catch them. And as they come to you, you take a bump. You take a fall on the floor. And you got to roll with the punch or roll with the dive. So when they come to you to absorb the shock, he's falling. No, come on. I don't care if you make a sign a liability waiver or not. The fact that this is the fact that you want this to happen, okay? The fact that you want this to happen, somebody's head gets hit on the floor and they start internally brain bleeding and get killed because of this? Oh, it's okay. They signed a waiver. No, it's not okay. It shouldn't be happening. You can't teach somebody how to fall in a 20-minute brief safety course. Because here's the rub, folks. When they do that, they're still taking back bumps. They still fall correctly. No. Just no. The fact that this popped you disgusts me, kind of. It really does. The fact that you're now excited by the fact that a stupid fucking fan didn't move out the way and caught somebody, which we don't know if he caught them properly or not. He had no business doing that. It's an insult to you as a wrestler. It's an insult to me as a longtime fan. It should be an insult to the promoter, which I hope the promoter of this, which, I mean, I don't know if this was Nova Pro or what, WrestleCade, I don't know where this was at. And then she singles out Beyond Wrestling, going, since y'all are so innovative, how about doing... No! My God, no. This is an accident waiting to happen. It's a damn lawsuit waiting to happen, regardless of the liability waiver. I hate this idea. Seeing shit like this makes me think that 2017 wrestling in general is just flat out fucked up and nuts. Since you get popped by the fans catching wrestlers so much, why don't you stand out there and catch them, and we'll watch the matches with you next time. Again, I think she's a phenomenal worker. I have no bad things to say about her work. She's awesome. She's one of the best out there today, probably. But the thing is, this idea is just flat out fucking stupid. It's just plain stupid. You want to catch wrestlers again? How about the next show that you're on? You pay you wrestle. We'll pay you to, you'll pay us to wrestle, and we'll collect that money and just catch dives. Who's the mark here, folks? Who's the mark here? What is this? Dive part 2? No, this is a bad idea, honey. I'm sorry. Oh, excuse me. If calling you honey offends you, I do apologize, because some women get offended by that. Some people get offended by that. Miss Grace, if this offends you, I'm sorry, but it had to be said. I mean no disrespect by it, but marks are on the other side of a barrier for a reason, which, hell, you're lucky if indie shows have barriers anymore. CWF doesn't, but you get my drift here, Don. You really do. You have to. So I'm hoping that we don't see this develop into an actual thing, because it's freaking stupid. People are going to get hurt. There's no way, let me go to the CWF dojo and request a crash course in wrestling so I could catch people so I could catch Chet Sterling when he dives over the top rope. The higher ups there would probably smack me in the damn face. Anyway, that ends it for this episode here from Pillow to Post, folks. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you down the road.